Cheevo, guys!
What up, guys? This is Cheevo Guides, back here again with another video. Last month, Xbox sadly announced that they're going to be closing the Xbox 360 store on July 29th, 2024. This means that all of the digital games that are exclusive to Xbox 360, as well as a lot of DLC, will be delisted forever. Now, keep in mind the shutdown will not affect your ability to play Xbox 360 games or DLC you have already purchased. Also, any games or DLC that are backwards compatible will still be available via the modern Xbox store. So, I wanted to put together a top 10 list of 10 Xbox Live Arcade games that you should purchase before the Xbox 360 store goes down and they're delisted forever. If you guys enjoy videos like this, let me know down in the comments below and maybe I'll make a part 2. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on number 10. Seen It Movie Night. I was really surprised to see that this game is still listed on the Xbox 360 marketplace, just because it's a movie trivia game that has a ton of licenses tied into it. So to see that they're still selling it nearly 12 years after the release is pretty impressive. This is a really cool party game to play with friends or family if you guys want to play some movie trivia. The game's even pretty affordable, it's only $9.99. For you achievement hunters out there, it offers only 200 gamer score with a total of 12 achievements. When the game launched, the game had a ton of DLC to add a bunch of more content to the game. However, I think the DLC has been delisted. So if you want a cool party game that's exclusive to the Xbox 360, this is one I highly recommend. As I mentioned earlier, when the Xbox 360 store closes, games like this will be delisted forever, meaning that you will never be able to download them or play them once they're gone. Number 9. Echo the Dolphin is a game straight from my childhood. Personally, I owned it on the Sega Genesis when I was a kid, and it has to be one of the first 5 games I ever played. This is an action-adventure video game published by Sega where you play as a dolphin, you guessed it, named Echo. The game was originally developed for Sega Mega Drive, Sega Genesis, and the Dreamcast, although over time it's gotten ported to a ton of consoles. For instance, the Xbox 360 got a release via the Xbox Live Arcade. The game was actually originally released in 1992. It's only $4.99 to purchase the Xbox version. I do highly recommend it. In terms of achievements, it offers 200 gamer score. The game did end up getting a ton of sequels in the series, although this is the only Echo game that we got on Xbox. I'd really love to see them revive this game. Number 8. Happy Tree Friends False Alarm. This was a game based off of the Flash cartoon series, Happy Tree Friends. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this series or if you've ever seen it before. When I was a teenager, early YouTube days, this was actually really popular on YouTube. It's a cartoon that's quite bloody and gory, definitely not made for kids. The show was so popular that they ended up releasing a video game. It's published by Sega and it was released for the Xbox Live Arcade on the 360. It did suffer a few delays, but it eventually released on June 25th, 2008. This is another game that's tied to a license that I was really surprised to still see listed. In the game, the goal is to get all of your happy tree friends to the exit safely. To do this, you need to navigate them past a variety of dangerous obstacles. This one's also only $4.99. Number 7. The Dishwasher 1 and 2. Now for this one, you guys are getting a 2-for-1 special. I do recommend getting both Dishwasher games before they're delisted. They're each $9.99, and this was a pretty popular series on Xbox Live Arcade. The first game is called The Dishwasher Dead Samurai. However, I think on the store it's just called The Dishwasher, and the sequel is called The Dishwasher Vampire Smile. The game is made by SK8 Games, which went on to make games like Charlie Murder, Salt and Sanctuary, and most recently, Salt and Sacrifice. Again, it's going to cost $20 to pick up both of these games, although I do highly recommend it. In the game, you play as the Dishwasher as he fights through waves of enemies until you reach the boss fight at the end of each level. Each game has 12 achievements and each game is worth only 200 gamer score. Number 6. Vigilante 8 Arcade. This is a remake of Vigilante 8 with some elements of Vigilante 8 Second Offense. The original game was released for the PS1, Nintendo 64, and Game Boy Color. This is a vehicular combat game that takes place in the western United States. Every vehicle is equipped with a machine gun by default, but players can add up to 3 out of 5 available weapons: mines, autocannons, rocket pods, mortars, and homing missiles, plus a special weapon unique to each vehicle. Vigilante 8 Arcade includes 4 single-player modes: Quest Mode, Quick Battle, Custom Battle, and Free Willin'. There's also a multiplayer mode that can be played with up to 4 players via split screen and up to 8 players via online. The game got a lot of comparisons to Twisted Metal, which was the most popular vehicular combat game at the time. Number 5. Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection. This is a compilation of 3 classic 2D fighting games in the Mortal Kombat series. The original Mortal Kombat from 1992, its sequel Mortal Kombat 2 from 1993, and then Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 from 1995. So the collection includes the classic trilogy, all for just $9.99. As with every other game on this list, there is no physical copy. The game was released as purely a downloadable title on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Games for Windows Live, and Steam on PC. One cool thing that this has that the original trilogy did not is, of course, online multiplayer. So, if you want to be able to play the original Mortal Kombat trilogy and still get achievements in it, I highly recommend purchasing this one before it's delisted when the Xbox 360 store shuts down. Number 4. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting. This is a Capcom fighting game that released in the arcades in 1992. It's a port of the third arcade version of Street Fighter 2. To a lot of people, Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting defined the fighting genre. Now, it eventually got ported to Xbox Live Arcade with completely revamped HD TV support, online multiplayer, leaderboards, and of course, achievements. I should also mention this one is only $4.99. While I'm on the Street Fighter topic, I also think you guys should pick up Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. This is an HD remake of the game that came after Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, which was Street Fighter 2 Turbo. This one is $14.99, 3 times as expensive, but I gotta say this one's also worth the purchase. Number 3. Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate. A lot of people don't know this game exists in the Batman Arkham series, but this is a 2.5D side-scrolling Batman game. This game takes place 3 months after Batman Arkham Origins, so it is the sequel, and it's about Batman as he attempts to stop the prison riot at Blackgate Penitentiary. This game originally released on the PlayStation Vita and Nintendo 3DS. However, in 2014, they ended up releasing digital versions on the Wii U eShop, PlayStation Network, and the Xbox Live Arcade. So this game is purely digital, and that's why I recommend getting it before the Xbox 360 store is gone forever. This one's a bit pricey at $19.99, but it's Batman. I highly recommend it. Number 2. South Park Let's Go Tower Defense Play. Who would have thought South Park would make a great tower defense game? Well, luckily for us, I can confirm it's actually a really awesome South Park game. At the time, South Park fans were really excited to hear about the game because at the time, South Park was on a 9-year drought for South Park games. Now, on top of it being a tower defense game, it's also a bit of an action game. You do have to destroy waves of enemies using your tower strategically, but you also need to take control over some of the South Park characters to attack enemies directly. That way you can pick up their dropped coins. Use these coins to buy and place down more towers. Now, while we're on the South Park subject, there is another South Park game on the Xbox Live Arcade, and that's South Park Tenderman's Revenge. I also recommend getting this one. Each of these games is $9.99. And these are digital-only South Park games that will be gone forever once the store shuts down. Now, South Park Tenderman's Revenge is not a tower defense game. It's actually just a platform game, and in the game you can control the 4 main characters from the show: Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny. In the game, your goal is to battle the character Scott Tenorman and his army of gingers. Number 1. Call of Duty Classic. This is a port of the original Call of Duty. It was a World War II first-person shooter game developed by Infinity Ward. It originally only released for PC. An enhanced port of the game eventually released digital only for the PS3 and Xbox 360, titled as Call of Duty Classic. Now, don't get this confused with Call of Duty Finest Hour, which originally released on the GameCube, PS2, and original Xbox. That one's based off of the original Call of Duty, but it does have a different storyline. Now, we all know Call of Duty 2 had a physical release on the Xbox 360, so this first Call of Duty Classic, is the only Call of Duty that does not have a physical release. This is why this is the number 1 digital Xbox 360 game that I recommend purchasing before the store closes forever. This video was a bit different compared to my other uploads, so if you enjoy videos like this, let me know down in the comments and I'll try to make some more, maybe even a part 2. As always, I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. We just hit 12 patrons. I'd like to give a special shout out to everybody in the biggest fan club, including TimG84, Kegger101, Kana25, Rockmono44, and HinderGod35. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.